And good morning to everyone. Good morning to all the citizens of the city of Philadelphia. We're going to get started. But before we begin the council session, I'll make the following announcement. Due to the continuing threat to public health from COVID-19, City Council is currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make this remote meeting possible. Instructions for how the public may view the meeting and offer public comment are included in the stated meeting notice that was published in the Daily News, Enquirer, and Legal Intelligencer prior to the meeting, and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. The clerk will please call the roll to take attendance, and members that are in attendance, please say a couple of words to make sure that your image is displayed on the screen. Mr. Decker, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bass.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Morning.
Councilwoman Brooks. Councilman Dom.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, and the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Gautier.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues in Philadelphia. Present.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilman Green.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the City of Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Kim.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilman Johnson.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good to see everybody this morning. Sending prayers out to all the young people who have been impacted by senseless gun violence.
Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning, CP.
Councilman Jones.
Good morning, President, colleagues, Philadelphia. I'm present.
Good morning.
Councilman O.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I am present with some technical difficulties, but I'm here. Thank you.
Good morning, Councilman. We'll get it straight.
Councilman O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Parker.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues, and good morning, Philadelphia.
As you're transcribing.
Good morning, Councilwoman.
Okay, I'm not transcribing, Mr. President.
Yeah, I know that's somebody else.
Councilwoman Quinones Sanchez.
Good morning, Council President and my colleagues. You look real good on my screen this morning.
Good morning.
Councilman Squillo.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues, present.
Good morning.
Councilman Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the listening public, and a special thank you to Pastor Sutton for joining us today.
Good morning.
Council President Clark.
And good morning to all. We have established a quorum, and we're going to get started. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Pastor Danny Sutton of Kingdom Life Church Ministries. He is here today as the guest of Councilman Thomas. I would ask all members and guests to please bow your head for our invocation. Pastor, please proceed.
Good morning to our president, and good morning to all of our council representatives, as well as to our city of Philadelphia. In the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands through challenge and controversy. And during this moment of challenge and controversy in our city and in our time, we seek the Lord for his goodness, his mercy, and his grace to give us guidance throughout these days. Our Father and our God in our heaven, we thank you for all you have done for us, every way you have made for us, and every door you have opened for us. Father, thank you for how you continue to keep us, sustain us, and govern us through all that we face and through all we deal with. Now, Father, as we go throughout this day, our prayer is that you would do for us what you did for Solomon. Lord, grant each council person the wisdom, the knowledge, and the prowess and know-how to govern and decide and to make the right necessary choices concerning this city and concerning our country, our culture. Our prayer is that you would keep them and sustain them through all that they do, guide their hearts, their minds, and their decision making. And our prayer is, Lord, that hate will always be conquered by love. Our prayer is that light will always be conquering darkness. Our prayer is that goodness will always conquer evil. And in the name of Jesus, we thank you and believe you for this to be done in your precious son's name. And all who would agree, we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pastor, thank you so much for your spiritual guidance this morning. We need it.
It is an honor and privilege to be a part.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And our next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, February 10th, 2022. And the chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, February 10th, 2022 be approved.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, February 10th, 2022 stand approved. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it, and that journal is approved. And our next order of business is the request for leave of absence, and the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the members of council, there are no requests for leaves of absence today.
Chair thanks to Councilwoman. The chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker for matters in a motion concerning certain legislative matters that may arise during the course of today's session of council, and they were not listed on the calendar circulated prior to today's session. Councilwoman Parker?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that any of the following matters, if considered today, may be added to the agenda for this session of council and, as required by law, subsequently published on an amended agenda after the consideration of those matters. Resolutions authorizing hearings, amendments to bills on first reading, the reconsideration of a bill vetoed by or recalled from the mayor, resolutions taking substantive action to be voted on in this session, a motion to withdraw a bill or resolution that is not on the calendar, and a motion placing a bill or resolution on or returning a bill or resolution from the suspension calendar that is not listed on today's calendar. The purpose of this motion is to provide the public with notice concerning possible actions by council that arose too late to be included on the calendar that was published prior to today's session.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the legislative matters stated by Councilwoman Parker may be added to the agenda for today should those matters arise during the course of the council session. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it. Chair quickly recognizes Councilwoman Kendra Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. I want to be recognized as present.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Brooks is present. And our next order of business is communications. And the clerk will please read the messages from the mayor and any other communications that he may have in his possession today.
From the mayor to the president and members of the council of the city of Philadelphia, I am pleased to advise you that on February 14, 2022, I signed the following bill, which was passed by council at its session on February 10, 2022, bill number 220003. And I am transmitting for the consideration of your honorable body a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying Title II, 2614 through 18 Frankfurt Avenue, located in the 1st Councilmanic District. And a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying title to certain properties located in the 2nd Councilmanic District. And a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying title to 1517 North 33rd Street, located in the 5th Councilmanic District. And a resolution authorizing the conveyance of an interest in and the assignment of the redevelopment agreement for 3252 Germantown Avenue, located in the 5th Councilmanic District. And an ordinance amending section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Designation of Bicycle Lanes to authorize a bicycle lane on West Market Street from 34th Street to 30th Street and making associated changes to parking regulations within the same limits. And an ordinance amending Title IX of the Philadelphia Code by amending Section 9203 relating to street vendors by prohibiting street vending on certain portions of Market Street, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. That concludes our messages from the mayor. in other communications. And our next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions. And by way of a reminder, we're asking that all resolutions, including privileged resolutions, be placed on the final passage calendar for our next session of council unless they are being referred to committee. In our current remote environment, this procedure will provide the appropriate opportunity for public comment. I want to thank you very much for your anticipated cooperation. Mr. Decker, please read the titles of the legislation that is being offered by our members today.
Yes, Mr. President. Councilwoman Parker offers 3 resolutions today. On behalf of Council President Clark, a resolution authorizing the conveyance of an interest in and the assignment of the redevelopment agreement for 3252 Germantown Avenue, located in the 5th Councilmanic District.
Next week's calendar.
And on her own behalf, a resolution congratulating Carol G. Stooks Baylor on being elected Vice Chair for the City of Philadelphia Board of Pensions and Retirement, making her the first woman and woman of color to hold this position.
Next week's calendar.
And a resolution congratulating Eric Pryor on his appointment as president of the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, making him the first Black president of the PAFA.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Kim offers 1 resolution authorizing the City Council committees on children and youth and on finance to hold hearings regarding the Philadelphia Parking Authority's unorthodox and contested request for the school district to repay the parking authority nearly $11 million.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Kim.
Thank you so much, Council President. Today, I'm calling for a full City Council investigation into the Parking Authority's latest financial shenanigans, and one that I believe is actually the most serious yet. Thanks to the Council President's intergovernmental agreement between the School District of Philadelphia and City Council, for the last several years, we've been meeting quarterly to discuss the district's finances. Last fall, the district indicated a troubling claim by the PPA that it was actually demanding $10.9 million in repayment, an amount for which they have to this day, months later, still failed to provide any documentation for. Of greater concern is that in a series of emails between the Parking Authority and the school district, it has since been revealed that the PPA has been diverting millions of dollars in on-street parking revenue. This is the money that goes to the city and to school kids into a $34 million pension fund. This had never been disclosed before publicly to the district or to the city. It was never made clear in financial audits that were delivered to our body. It was not discovered in audits by the Auditor General or the Controller. Last year, the Parking Authority delivered exactly $0 to the School District of Philadelphia with $180 million in revenue. Many of us recall back in 2014 when this body increased parking meter fees with a promise from the PPA that funds to schools would increase to at least $18 million a year. But in the immediate years following that parking meter increase, funding to our public schools actually dropped. The PPA has no oversight, no financial oversight, other than what it itself conducts with its own internal controls. It is long past time for us to seek a longer-term formal financial oversight over this body. It is a critical public trust. It has the responsibility of not only doing the good work of managing our streets and parking, but it also has the important responsibility of funding our city and funding our school kids. Every dollar that goes out of our school kids is a dollar that often is made up by this body. We have increased funding to our schools consistently and over time through grants to make up for unexpected drops. And these kinds of unexpected surprises can no longer continue, especially from an entity that was built to serve us. When it was first founded or taken over by the state in 2004, it promised $45 million a year to school kids in revenue. It has never delivered even a fraction of that amount of money. So I look forward to the conversation between our committees on finance and children and youth. I want to thank the council president's office, especially for the work through the intergovernmental agreement. We expect to have strong partnerships with our city revenue departments, finance departments, and the school district of Philadelphia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. That will be on today's calendar.
Councilman Jones offers 1 resolution entitled a resolution also naming the 6300 block of Lancaster Avenue as Absalom Jones Way to commemorate the Reverend Absalom Jones, and his legacy as an abolitionist, clergyman, and the founder of the African Episcopal Church of St. Thomas, the first African American Episcopal Church in the United States.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Johnson offers one bill and one resolution entitled an ordinance amending section 9215 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Streeteries to add additional permitted locations.
For the committee.
And a resolution also naming 24th Street between Wharton and Reed Streets, Dorothy D. Allen Way, to honor the life and legacy of Dorothy D. Allen.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Brooks offers one resolution entitled a resolution recognizing the strength, determination, and contributions of renowned physician, Philadelphia City Council member, and Secretary of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Dr. Ethel Allen, whose medical expertise and dedicated public service prioritized the city's most vulnerable residents and paved the way for future generations of independent Black women in Philadelphia politics.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Dom offers two resolutions entitled a resolution authorizing the committees on public safety, labor and civil service, and fiscal stability and intergovernmental cooperation to hold a hearing examining the current staffing landscape within the Philadelphia Police Department to identify problems and solutions to improve public safety and ensure the best use of taxpayer dollars.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. And thanks for the opportunity this morning to speak on this resolution that would authorize the Committees on Public Safety, Labor and Civil Service, and Fiscal Stability and Intergovernmental Cooperation to hold a hearing that examines the current staffing landscape within our police department. I want to be very clear that this hearing's goal is to help and support our police department and all the officers who protect us every day in a positive way. And I do believe I speak for all of us on council and all Philadelphians when I say we really appreciate and respect our police department and the role they play in protecting us from the violence on our streets. Because we have high expectations of our police force, we must make sure that our police department has what they need to do their jobs properly and help get our city back on track. It's our joint responsibility to help the police department succeed. So it's time to bring everyone to the table in a positive and constructive way to identify the problems and solutions in order to improve our staffing needs while ensuring the best use of taxpayer dollars. We must meet the needs of today and plan for our needs of tomorrow. In the last year, we've heard issues of heightened leave usage, hiring delays, increasing retirements, and police officer application shortages. Now's the time to bring all these issues to light before the budget debates begin. I appreciate the Philadelphia Inquirer reporters Barbara Laker, David Gamba-Corda, and Will Bender for their investigative work, which will assist us as we work to solve these issues. And as we review the forthcoming information in this hearing, I hope council and the public remembers that the overwhelming majority of our officers show up every day and do a great job every day, and do so at an increasingly challenging time in this city. They deserve our support. We want them to succeed, and that includes ensuring that we have a police force at full strength ready to serve. I want to thank many of my colleagues for supporting this resolution, especially the joint committee chairs, Council Members Parker, Council Member Jones. Also want to thank my colleagues, Council Member Gilmore Richardson, Squilla, Bass, Sanchez, Green, and Thomas for their support. And I look forward to holding the hearing as soon as possible. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. That will be on today's calendar.
Councilman Dom also offers a resolution congratulating Dr. Amy Gutmann on her confirmation to the administration of President Joe Biden as the ambassador to Germany and recognizing her many contributions to public life and service in Philadelphia and beyond.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Gautier offers two bills and one resolution entitled an ordinance amending Title 9 of the Philadelphia Code by amending Section 9203 relating to street vendors by prohibiting street vending on certain portions of Market Street.
For the committee.
And an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Designation of Bicycle Lanes to authorize a bicycle lane on West Market Street from 34th Street to 30th Street and making associated changes to parking regulations within the same limits.
For the committee.
And a resolution honoring the life and legacy of civic leader Elsie Wise for her dedication to community empowerment and mentorship through the founding of the West Powelton Steppers and Drum Team and leadership in West Philadelphia civic associations for more than 60 years.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Thomas offers one resolution entitled a resolution honoring and congratulating Champion of the Week and Black Business Crawl organization Black Kids Can Cook and Kids Meals on Wheels on their dedication to helping feed children across the city of Philadelphia and showing them the importance of culinary skills.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman Squilla offers one resolution entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Land Bank deeds conveying title to certain properties located in the 1st Councilmanic District.
Next week's calendar.
Councilwoman Bass offers one resolution recognizing February 2022 as American Heart Month, encouraging Philadelphians to be mindful of their heart health and honoring the American Heart Association for their advocacy on the issue of heart health.
Next week's calendar.
Councilman O offers two resolutions entitled a resolution recognizing and honoring creative entrepreneur and activist Ant Brown.
Mr. Decker, hold on 1 second. I think the councilwoman wanted to be recognized. Councilwoman Bass.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize. A little bit behind schedule on hitting the send button. But I just wanted to make a comment regarding my resolution regarding heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in America and continues to be the leading cause of death in Philadelphia. Hypertension impacts over 34% of adults in Philadelphia, making it the #1 cause of death in this city. On top of that, Philadelphians die from heart disease at a higher rate than residents of other major cities. Because of the staggering rate at which Philadelphians experience complication with heart health, my resolution highlights the importance of health disease awareness. We cannot afford to neglect our health. As Philadelphians' own Benjamin Franklin once advised, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We must practice good heart health by eating more fruits and vegetables, getting more exercise, drinking more water, monitoring our blood pressure, and seeking medical treatment when necessary. The American Heart Association here in Philadelphia has done a tremendous job of educating the public about heart disease. This resolution honors the American Heart Association for those efforts. It also recognizes February 2022 as American Heart Month. I want to thank council members Dom, Johnson, Squilla, Sanchez, Gilmore Richardson, Green, Parker, and Brooks for co-sponsoring and joining this call to promote heart health in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Decker, please pick up with Councilman O's.
Councilman O offers two resolutions entitled a resolution recognizing and honoring creative entrepreneur and activist Ant Brown for his work in combating violence among at-risk youth.
I said, Mr. Decker, was that just a
it was an honorary resolution, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Next week's calendar.
And a resolution recognizing and honoring Louis Scaglione, President, CEO, and Music Director of the Philadelphia Youth Orchestra Music Institute on the occasion of his 25th anniversary with the organization.
Next week's calendar.
There are no other bills or resolutions being offered today by the members, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. That concludes our introduction of bills and resolutions. And our next order of business is reports on committee. And the chair recognizes Councilman Green for a report from the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Council President. The Committee on Finance reports out 3 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, please read the report.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee on Finance, to which is referred Bill number 220006, entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 19-4000, entitled Income Inequality Initiative, Earned Income Tax Credit, by requiring employers to provide notification to workers regarding the availability of certain additional federal and city tax benefit programs, and extending the Department of Revenue's notification and reporting requirements to such additional tax benefit programs. And Bill number 220079, entitled an ordinance constituting the 26th supplemental ordinance to the restated general water and wastewater revenue bond ordinance of 1989 as supplemented, authorizing the bond committee to issue and sell one or more series or subseries of tax-exempt or taxable water and wastewater revenue bonds and revenue refunding bonds. And Bill number 220080, entitled an ordinance authorizing the execution, delivery, and performance by the Philadelphia Facilities Management Corporation on behalf of the Philadelphia Gas Works of a renewal of service agreement for gas storage and transportation under rate schedule GSS with Transcontinental Gas Pipeline Company. Respectfully reports that it is considered the same and returns the attached bills to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day, bill numbers 220006, 220079, and 220080.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bills number 220006, 220079, and 220080. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. And this will be placed on our first reading calendar today. Chair now recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a report from the Committee on Law and Government.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Law and Government reports out 3 bills and 3 resolutions with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. Please read that report.
The Committee on Law and Government, to which is referred, Bill number 220001, entitled an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, providing for the removal of gender-based references throughout the charter, as approved by resolution of the City Council. And Bill number 220002, entitled an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of an amendment to the educational supplement to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, relating to the removal of gender-based references throughout the educational supplement, as approved by resolution of the Council. And Bill number 220077, entitled an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to provide for the creation of a Fair Housing Commission as an independent commission, as approved by resolution of the City Council. And resolution number 220009, entitled a resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, providing for the removal of gender-based references throughout the charter. And resolution number 220010, entitled a resolution proposing an amendment to the educational supplement to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, providing for the removal of gender-based references throughout the educational supplement. And resolution number 220082, entitled a resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, provide for the establishment of a Fair Housing Commission as an independent commission, and providing for the submission of the amendment to the electors of Philadelphia. Respectfully reports that it's considered the same and returns the attached bills and resolutions to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. The chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bill numbers 220001, 220002, and 220077.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bills number 220001, 220002, and 220077. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it. And these bills will be placed on our first reading calendar today. Resolution number 220009 and 220010 and 220082 will be placed on our final passage calendar at our next session of council. Chair now recognizes Councilwoman Bass for a report from the Committee on Public Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Public Health and Human Services reports out 2 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, please read the report.
The Committee on Public Health and Human Services, to which is referred bill number 210902, entitled an ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, entitled the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code, by amending Subcode A, the Philadelphia Administrative Code, and Subcode PM, the Philadelphia Property Maintenance Code, and other related sections of the Philadelphia Code to add provisions related to the abatement of rats and other vermin in the City of Philadelphia. And Bill number 220051, entitled an ordinance amending section 94116 of the Philadelphia Code entitled 2021 Public Health Emergency Leave to establish additional leave time under certain circumstance, modifying existing provisions concerning the paid sick leave, and making technical changes. Respectfully reports that it's considered and amended the same and returns the attached bills to council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Chair again recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bills number 210902 and 220051.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit first reading this day of bills number 210902 and 220051. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it. These bills will be placed on our first reading calendar today. That concludes our reports on committee. And our next order of business is consideration of the calendar. I note that the bills just reported from committee with the suspension of the rules have been deemed to have had a first reading, and these bills will be placed on our second reading and final passage calendar at our next session of council. As there are no additional bills on the first reading calendar, the chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a motion concerning the resolutions on the final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the following resolutions on the final passage calendar. They are resolution numbers 220121, 220123, 220124, 220126, 220129, 220130, 220131, 220134, 220135, 220137, 220138, and 220139.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly second that the rules of council be suspended to permit the use of a consent agenda to consider the resolutions just read by Councilwoman Parker. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it. Motion carries, and we will consider the resolution consent agenda shortly. The chair again recognizes Councilwoman Parker for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the regular and second reading and final passage calendar today.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to the resolutions being considered on the consent agenda, the following resolutions and bills are being called up from the second reading and final passage calendars today. They are numbers 220128 and 220136. All other bills and resolutions are being held, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We will now proceed with our public comment session. But before we proceed, let's take a 5 to 10 minute break to give our technology professionals an opportunity to connect all our speakers for today's public comment session. Be right back. Great, thank you. And we're back again, and we're going to start our process of the public comment. So now that everyone is connected to the meeting, and before considering resolutions and bills we have before us today, we're going to consider our public comment, and we'll go as follows. Public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at a session of council. A speaker on any of those matters must sign up in order to testify. You must call 215-686-3406 by 3 p.m. the day before the session to sign up for public comment. When you call, we will take your name, your phone number, the number of the legislative item you are commenting on, and whether you are in support of or against the legislation, and add your name to the list. We will then telephone each person on the list during the council session and invite them to our remote meeting. Today, we have a significant volume, so we will have 2 minutes to speak. I will ask that you please adjust your comments to reflect the 2-minute window. In order to be fair, all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the established time limit. And once invited to the meeting and asked to begin your testimony, a timer will be started. We will monitor the remaining times throughout your testimony, and when there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. And once your allotted time has passed, you will be asked to conclude your remarks, and shortly thereafter, you will be muted and disconnected from the remote meeting. I also reserve the right to limit the number of speakers where repetitious comments are being made on the same subject matter, which could affect callback for public comment at the meeting. And one last thing, please be aware that this public meeting is being recorded. So because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. So by continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. I will now ask Mr. Decker to please read the name of our first speaker today.
Certainly, Mr. President. We could not reach the first six speakers on page 1, so we will begin today with Ernie Burgess, commenting on 220128.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. How's everyone? Hi, Council President Clark. Going to jump right to it. I will not hold up 2 minutes because this is something that is loud and clear. I am in support of resolution number 220128 in support for Brother Jamal Johnson, who we all know has been out in these streets, hitting the ground running on the horrific acts of gun violence. We all know that he has marched, rallied, sat in front of City Hall, hunger strike. I've known Brother Jamal for quite a few years. We have broke bread together. We have both received awards together concerning gun violence and what needs to be done. So I am in support of this resolution. He has marched, applied, everything else you can think of in support, march to Washington. And I believe the attention has really drawn to him because he's actually on every corner where there's gun violence, has hunger strike in front of City Hall, and he has just marched to the governor's office. So we all know who Brother Jamal is. So I'm just asking that you all just, do the right thing, pass this, vote it in. Just pass this, John. That's all I have to say. Everybody have a good, blessed day. Y'all be safe out here in the streets of Philadelphia. Thank you again. And this was Ernie Burgess. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Real quick, just state your name for the record. Oh, you just said it. I'm sorry.
Ernie. Yes, I did. Ernie, E-R-N-I-E, Bristow, B-R-I-S-T-O-W, as in tow truck. Everyone be safe out here. Peace.
We appreciate your testimony.
You're welcome.
The next speaker is Joanne Miner, commenting on 220128.
Good morning. State your name for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
Hi there. Good morning. My name is Joanne Miner, and I am actually a resident of Scottsdale, Arizona. And I am calling today in support of Resolution 220128 for Jamal Johnson. I have known Jamal for several years, and he has been heavily involved in not just the gun violence there in Philadelphia, but just statewide. I've known him to participate in things in Arizona regarding racial injustices, helping out humanitarian with the tornadoes or the hurricanes in Puerto Rico. Just numerous things. Mr. Johnson is out trying to help the best he can. I know his main focus is there in Philadelphia in regards to the gun violence, and I just really believe he deserves this and more because of all his tireless efforts, his hard work, never asking for anything in return, but just doing this truly from his heart. So he definitely has all my support, and I thank you for giving me the time to express my opinions today.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Khalif Ali, commenting on 220128.
Good morning. State your name for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
My name is Khalif Ali. I'm the CEO and founder of the Beloved Care Project. I'm also a supporter of this bill. I began with Jamal, and also I did the City Hall when he began to walk to Washington, D.C. I also began at City Hall when he was going to the governor's house, and I met him up at the governor's house for this here. So I'm also in support of it because right now we're in a situation where no one can help what we're doing because the crime rate has risen with all the money that the organizations are getting, all the work that the council people and everyone is doing. This gun violence has not went down; it went up. And I also would like to say that we need this help. We need this to be done because our women and children are dying at a massive rate. The murders done went up. Not only did the murders done going up last year, but also this year we got a lot of other crimes that's happening, these robberies, these carjackings. And as long as we continue to sit down without getting the help that we need, as long as things keep going worse and worse and worse, and we don't have this bill, then when things happen and it get more worse, till we become in a city that's being oppressed and held down by crime and other things can be done, then the faces of the people that can help, they're going to have a frown on them. And before that frown comes, we're begging y'all, please, let's support this bill, let's pass it, and let's make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Leon Aristotle Williams, commenting on 220128.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. President and members of City Council. I'm Leon Williams, here to support Resolution 220128, recognizing Jamal Johnson. Coming up in Philadelphia during the gang war days myself, in the 60s, I had witnessed violence firsthand. Yet the 60s seemed mild compared to the violence that we see today. In 1960, there were 150 homicides in the city. In 2021, there were well over 500. Every day we wake up, the news tells us that someone has been killed, including women and children. Every story ends the same way. No one was taken into custody. While the homicide rate continues to climb, the clearance rate is now below 40%. Because witnesses for this are legitimately afraid for their safety. Jamal has declared a personal and sometimes one-man war against gun violence and demonstrates almost daily on streets where homicides have taken place. He has called on other citizens to come out and help, but he gets very little help. He marched to D.C., he marched to Harrisburg, he fasted for 26 days. Nobody knows how to fix this problem, but Jamal is on the right track. It must be done by the people themselves through mass volunteerism. Police can't do it, government can't do it. I envision a program that will begin with 100,000 volunteers having incentives, federal, state, and city tax credits, earned in exchange for putting in 3 or more hours of service a week. The program will take place, will place volunteers in the streets 24/7, serving communities in a variety of ways, serving the homeless, protecting witnesses, cleaning the streets, and more. Jamal has pointed us in the right direction by urging mass volunteerism. No government official would disagree with this. Yet, I am aware of no program in this state that offers tax credits for community services. If we agree on the need of mass citizen involvement to make this city clean and safe, we owe it to the victims of gun violence and brave people like Jamal Johnson to offer tax credits to sharply increase community volunteerism. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Zamoria Brandon, commenting on 220137.
Greetings, Council President Darrell Clark and other council members. My name is Zamoria Brandon. I'm the Administrator Social Worker for the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, Philadelphia, Delaware Valley Chapter. Today, I would like to begin by offering our support of Resolution number 220137, introduced by Council Member Cindy Bass. Through our support of this resolution, we would also like to highlight the following services and support our agency has provided over the years to meet the challenges of individuals and families living with sickle cell disease: pediatric round-trip transportation, newborn screening follow-up, case management, supportive services and referrals, patient-parent support groups, foster care family support, multicultural initiative, single-gene genetic counseling and education for individuals and families living with sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait, and providing advocacy support to promote and encourage self-sufficiency. The Sickle Cell Association would like to express our sincere gratitude to Council Member at Large Helen Gim for her leadership and strong advocacy, along with other key legislators in their efforts to restore funding to our agency, which allowed us to continue providing services after the loss of a major grant funding from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Your support enabled us to meet the challenge of providing a network of services to include counseling and psychosocial services, as well as coordinating primary and specialized medical care through our hospital partners, and more recently through a commitment by the Black Doctors Consortium of the Dr. Alice Stanford Center for Health Equity. We look forward to your continued support and thank you for your consideration. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
The next speaker is Ruth Wilson, commenting on 220089.
All right. Good morning.
My name is Ruth Wilson, and I am 99 years old, looking to be 100 April 5th. I just want to comment on the Black Rosies for National Black History Month, for Kendra Brooks. I wanted to tell her that when the movie company came to start taking pictures, I was posed and ready, never dreaming that this oil painting would make me look like a movie star. I worked on the USS Valley Forge, dried out 5 at the Navy Yard. We had an aircraft carrier that carried 100 planes. We did a lot to help win World War II. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, and God bless you for being here with us. We really appreciate it. Looking forward. Thank you. Thank you for all that you've done. And that picture is great. Thank you.
The final speaker today, Mr. President, is Peter Winslow, commenting on 210956.
Good morning. State your name for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
My name is Peter Winslow. I'm a resident of Philadelphia, and I'm a member of the Philadelphia Public Banking Coalition. Thank you, President Clark and members of City Council, for this opportunity to provide public comments in support of Bill 210956 as amended to establish a Philadelphia Public Financial Authority. Opportunities for public comment to the Council are among the few mechanisms currently provided for citizens to participate in the processes for decision-making that affect us, all of us. I appreciate the allocation of 2 minutes in which to speak to you today. I appreciate the public hearings that are held by the Council and by city agencies. I appreciate the establishment of the Civilian Environmental Advisory Committee by Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, the establishment of the Environmental Justice Commission, and the other actions taken by Council to provide a richer dialogue between decision makers and those citizens whose lives are impacted by the decisions that are made. I appreciate your recognition that public participation is currently less than meaningful, and I applaud your efforts to improve the situation. Establishment of the Philadelphia Public Financial Authority will provide the city with a model institution to identify and develop best practices for meaningful public participation. The community stakeholders the authority is designed to serve, those with the greatest unmet needs for financing and the least access to obtaining credit, will collaborate with professional financial managers applying sound practices to achieve innovative solutions. The people demand nothing about us without us. The Philadelphia Public Financial Authority will respond to that demand. The authority will lead by example to uphold the values of transparency and accountability, democracy and inclusion, everything needed to achieve meaningful public participation. Using creatively the tools of communication now available, we can uphold these values for inclusiveness while enhancing both the efficiency and efficacy of the authority. Please establish the Philadelphia Public Financial Authority as an investment in the future of Philadelphia, the empowerment of our communities, and the prosperity of our citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it. That is.
There are no other speakers, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. That concludes our public comment session for today. We will now consider today's resolution agenda. I would ask Mr. Decker to please read the titles of all the resolutions on the consent agenda. After each title is read, any member may object to the inclusion of the resolution on the resolution consent agenda. Upon such an objection and without debate, the resolution will be immediately removed from the resolution consent agenda and placed on today's regular final passage calendar. Clerk will now read the titles of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
Resolution number 220121, entitled the resolution confirming the appointment of Sophia Lee as a member of the Board of the Philadelphia Energy Authority to serve in the term ending January 1, 2023. And resolution number 220123, entitled the resolution honoring Maxwell Brown for his longtime dedication to community empowerment and to the mentorship of young men through his Max Out of Life program. And resolution number 220124, entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 2257 Hope Street, located in the 7th Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220126, entitled a resolution honoring the life, courage, and resilience of Ona Oni Judge, whose story of escape to freedom has become a pillar in Black American history for its themes of autonomy, self-actualization, pride, and its particular significance in Philadelphia's abolitionist history. And resolution number 220129, entitled a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple Title II, 3851 and 3855 Aspen Street, 3732 Haverford Avenue, 3825 Fairmount Avenue, 3605, 3607, and 3832 Mellon Street, 3858 Mount Vernon Street, 614 North Shedwick Street, 3832 and 3830 Wallace Street, 708 North 34th Street, 709 North 35th Street, 676 North 36th Street, 681 North 37th Street, 740 North 38th Street, 5139 Delancey Street, and 747 North 39th Street in the 3rd Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220130, entitled a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to 1317 South Millville Street and 1328 South Millville Street, located in the 3rd Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220131, entitled a resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 3625 Wallace Street, located in the 3rd Councilmanic District. And resolution number 220134, entitled a resolution honoring and congratulating Champion of the Week and Black Business Crawl Organization, the National Marian Anderson Museum and Historical Society, on their dedication to Black art and historical preservation of Marian Anderson's life and her home in Philadelphia. And resolution number 220135, entitled a resolution honoring, congratulating, and thanking Darren L. Gotti on the occasion of his retirement from the Streets Department and his many years of service to the citizens of Philadelphia. And resolution number 220137, entitled a resolution urging federal policymakers to ensure that individuals with sickle cell disease have access to all medications and forms of treatment for sickle cell disease, no matter their form of healthcare insurance. And resolution number 220138, entitled a resolution recognizing and honoring Aaron Turner and Eric Schroeder of the 18th Police District for their courageous actions which led to the confiscation of an illegal firearm and stolen vehicle. And resolution number 220139, entitled a resolution declaring March 6th as Lithuanian Independence Day in the city of Philadelphia in honor of its restoration of the state day on February 16th and restoration of Independence Day on March 11th.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Decker. Chair now recognizes Councilwoman Parker for a motion to adopt each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda today.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved in second that each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and each of the resolutions on the resolution consent agenda have been adopted. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the regular second reading and final passage calendar. And Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 220128.
A resolution honoring and recognizing the work and contributions of community activist Jamal Johnson for his tireless advocacy against gun violence in the city of Philadelphia and across the nation.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Gauthier.
Thank you, Council President. And if I can make just a few remarks before calling for the adoption. Good morning to my council colleagues and everyone who is listening in from home. Last week, I introduced a resolution honoring the work of activist Jamal Johnson, who has dedicated his entire life to anti-violence and racial justice advocacy, not only in our city, but across the nation. Last year, on MLK Day, Mr. Johnson made waves by beginning a month-long hunger strike, urging the mayor to treat the gun violence erupting in our city as a public health emergency that it is, and allocate additional funding and resources to solving this problem and making our city safe for its residents. For 26 days, he put his own body on the line, sitting outside of City Hall in the freezing cold until he received a commitment for urgency by Jim Kennedy himself. Though this may have been the first time that some people were introduced to Mr. Johnson, for decades he had been building and working tirelessly to put an end to the devastating violence in our city, violence which at times had impacted his own family. From his time as a teen mediator for gang conflicts at House of Umoja to his annual Stop Killing Us march from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., calling for a nationwide end to gun violence and police brutality, Jamal Johnson has spent decades tirelessly advocating for nonviolence, and he continues his work today. I want to thank Jamal for his years of activism and advocacy. I admire his commitment and dedication, and I'm also proud to call him my friend. I introduced this resolution as a token of appreciation from myself, this city council, and the residents of Philadelphia for the work that Jamal Johnson has done and continues to do. And with that, Council President, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
Thank you. It's moved and probably second that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, please read the title of resolution number 220136.
A resolution initiating action to continue the Mount Airy Business Improvement District beyond its termination date in an area that generally includes both sides of Germantown Avenue from 6300 to 7631, and certain blocks of streets that intersect that portion of Germantown Avenue, for which Mount Airy Improvement District Incorporated, a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation, serves as the Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association for the district.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and probably second that the resolution be adopted. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted. Mr. Decker, you have any additional resolution?
Yes, Mr. President. A resolution authorizing the City Council Committees on Children and Youth and on Finance to hold hearings regarding the Philadelphia Parking Authority's unorthodox and contested request of the school district to repay the parking authority nearly $11 million, introduced today by Councilwoman Kim.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Kim.
Thank you very much, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
Been moved and probably second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
And a resolution authorizing the committees on public safety, labor and civil service, and fiscal stability and intergovernmental cooperation to hold a hearing examining the current staffing landscape within the Philadelphia Police Department to identify problems and solutions to improve public safety and ensure the best use of taxpayer dollars. Introduced today by Councilman Dom.
Chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Council President. Move for the adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, ayes have it, and that resolution is adopted.
There are no other resolutions on the final passage calendar, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. That completes our calendar for today. And prior to recognizing members regarding speeches, I will note for the record at this time that we will use the chat feature available in Microsoft's Teams to allow members to signify that they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for that particular purpose. With that said, are there any speeches on behalf of the minority? Chair recognizes Councilwoman Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. I want to thank my council colleagues for their continued support for my resolution series celebrating the contributions of powerful Black Philadelphia women in observance of Black History Month. And I also want to give another shout out to Ms. Ruth Wilson and let her know that she will get her resolution on her 100th birthday in April, and I'm looking forward to meeting her personally then.
Nice.
And one other is not a woman, but I'm so happy that we honored Jamal Wilson today. I've been in the streets with him for a while, even before being an elected official, and it's good that we're recognizing and honoring him for his labor. But I wanted to talk about this week's resolution. It recognizes someone that we don't hear about too often in mainstream discussions about Black history, Ona Judge. Some of you know Ona was born into enslavement on George and Martha Washington's estate in Virginia, and then forcibly taken with them to the nation's capital, Philadelphia at the time, when George Washington was elected president. At the time, Philadelphia's Gradual Abolition Act of 1780 granted freedom from enslavement to any person that could establish residency in the state for more than 6 months. Because of this law, Philadelphia had the largest Black free population in the North, thousands of Black people living autonomously in the city. To avoid granting Ona her rightful freedom, George Washington began a system of rotating his slaves across state lines after 5 months of work in Philadelphia and brought them back when their residency requirements restarted. Ona's bravely escaped the Washingtons in 1796 and made her way to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The next year, she met a free Black man who she married and later had 3 children with. Despite her escape to freedom, the Washingtons never stopped pursuing Ona and hired numerous bounty hunters to reclaim her from New Hampshire. Though she was never captured, Ona remained on the run her whole life. Her story persisted through her family and through interviews with abolitionist papers. In those interviews, Ona expressed that she never regretted her escape to freedom. Her story holds great significance in Philadelphia's vibrant abolitionist history and reminds us of the strength of Black Americans, even many generations later. And I want to thank the African American Museum for lifting up Ona's story as part of their educational installation. My team and I recently visited and were truly blown away by the quality and depth and thoughtfulness of this exhibit. I also want to recognize an excellent Philadelphia-specific educational walking tour called The Black Journey, which my team also did this past summer. This tour also does an excellent job lifting up stories of people like Ona Judge and giving color and life to the rich history that Black people have in our city. As Black people, there are so many untold stories, forgotten struggles, and lost histories due to oppression, mistreatment, and structural obstacles we have faced over time. That's why I'm so grateful that despite all odds, Ona's stories of resilience, bravery, self-determination has survived all of these years, and that we're able to celebrate her here today. So thank you to Ona and to many of the enslaved people who fought against their shackles and hope for a brighter future for future generations. Thank you to my council colleagues, the viewing public, and to Council President for allowing me to share her story with you today. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Awesome. Thank you. Speeches on behalf of the majority. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as a proud graduate of Lincoln University, the first historically Black degree-granting institution of higher learning in the nation, the institution that graduated Thurgood Marshall, the first Black Chief Justice, Kwame Nkrumah, first president of Ghana, Nnamdi Azikiwe, first president of Nigeria. It is very unfortunate today that I get the opportunity to share that I, like many of you, probably woke up to text messages and telephone calls and watching the news to know that that beautiful campus nestled out in Chester County, which is a very rural area right next to Oxford, Pennsylvania, that even it is not exempt from the increasing violence that we are seeing plaguing our nation, not just our city, but plaguing our nation. 3 students at Lincoln University were stabbed, and one, Mr. President, unfortunately passed away. On today, I want to say to our president and former Lincoln alum, I want to say to the student body, to the faculty, to all of the parents, this is the time when the lions and the lioness must come together. No matter what, we will not allow these heinous, violent acts to destroy the academic excellence and safety of our students and our overall Lincoln family. We know that you will work extremely hard to implement whatever safety mechanisms are necessary and do your best to prevent anything like this from happening in the future. But I also want to say to the great people of our city, this is an example that demonstrates that Philadelphia is not alone. And what we've been seeing in other urban areas across the nation, we are not alone. So, Mr. President, for those calls that I received and the text messages are still coming in right now, let's just hold on to our faith, pray for the families, and do our best to ensure that the mighty Lincoln family stays together. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah, really sad news this morning. Really sad news. Chair recognizes Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. Just wanted to make a brief announcement. On Tuesday, February the 22nd, I will be hosting a virtual town hall addressing carjackings and public safety and awareness. Obviously, we've seen a significant increase in carjackings here in the city of Philadelphia. Most recently, a 12-year-old, unfortunately, a 12-year-old and 18-year-old who carjacked the individual, but also murdered the individual in which they were trying to take the car from him. So this is also a very, very critical issue that we need to address here in the city of Philadelphia. I'll be joined by Commissioner Danielle Outlaw and her team, which will discuss the work that they are doing around tracking down and addressing the issue of carjacking, but most importantly, the public safety awareness aspect. What do we need to do to be aware of our surroundings, coming and goings, but most importantly, being safe? And that's going to take place virtually on Tuesday, February the 22nd. For additional information, people can reach out to my office at 215-686-3412 or on my Instagram page at Councilman KJ, my Facebook page, Councilman Kenyatta Johnson, to receive the Zoom meeting ID and passcode information. Thank you very much, Council President, and it's always good to see my colleagues. God bless, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Chair recognizes Councilman Don.
Thank you, Council President. As part of today's council session, I did introduce a resolution congratulating Dr. Amy Gutmann on her confirmation to serve as the ambassador of Germany for the United States. It's truly an honor for her and all of Philadelphia that she'll serve the Biden administration in this capacity. Many of us know Dr. Gutmann personally and professionally and are well aware of the many contributions she has made to the city of Philadelphia and beyond. At the University of Pennsylvania's longest serving president, almost 18 years. She's elevated the university's profile with careful direction and visionary strategy, which we believe will have a lasting impact on Philadelphia's standing in the world. A first-generation, low-income college student herself, Dr. Gutman has more than doubled the number of students from first-generation, low-income, and middle-income families attending the University of Pennsylvania. She led the efforts behind Penn's historic contribution of $100 million to the school district of Philadelphia, which will greatly benefit educational programs and help us face the many challenges in our aging schools. But the story, Council President, that touches my heart the most is that Amy Gutman, when she would speak, had a riddle she would ask the audience. And she would say, "What's the difference between a scrap metal dealer and an Ivy League university president?" And her answer was 1 generation. And that was because Amy Gutman's father escaped Nazi Germany in the 1940s, came to the United States. She was born in 1949, and now she became the president of Penn, and now she's serving as our ambassador to Germany. And we know that she'll make Philadelphia proud. What an amazing story to have your father escape concentration camps in Germany, and then she becomes the ambassador to Germany for the United States. I want to congratulate Dr. Gutman, and thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Thank you. An amazing story. That appears to conclude the speeches on behalf of the majority. That being the case, the chair recognizes Councilman Jones for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that council stand adjourned until Thursday, February 24th, 2022 at 10 a.m.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second that council stand adjourned until Thursday, February 24th, 2022, 10 a.m. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Councilman Jones, Councilwoman Sanchez, you have an opportunity to attend your very special event today. Thank you.
Gracias. Have a good day.
Thank you all. God bless.